Lawrence Tam here. I think I have either the flu or strep, not sure. I took a day off of work, but I had some brainstorming while I was sleeping 9 hours, which is like almost twice as much as I normally sleep. I usually sleep 5 hours a night. And I was thinking about something. I was like, my wife was telling me, you probably shouldn't be telling people what you make. And I was like, in business, you kind of want to show people it's legit. And there's other ways to do this, and I totally agree with my wife. And we were thinking about this. It's like, we discussed income when I became an engineer. Um, it's kind of there's not a good etiquette rule about this, but you generally don't do this. You just don't go to somebody and go, "Hey, I saw that you're an engineer. How much do you make?" You just don't do that, right? Right? Because it's check this out. It's personal income. It's personal, right? It's like what meds are you on? What I mean, it just doesn't happen that way, right? So in personal income, your job, it's just that's not something you tell people, right? Now, if you tell and divulge that, I make 90K as an engineer, that's fine. I just graduated college, and we had someone, a family friend, a student, who just got a good gig, and she was telling everybody, like, it kind of leaked what she was making. We're like, that's awesome. We love that you got a job, a high paying one, considering so many people don't even get a job, right? So that's a personal deal, for them to divulge that, right? It's a kind of different thing. But in terms of a business income, um, you don't see that very often, right? I guess it depends on what you're doing. Like, I was talking to my dad about this, and I think he just flipped the house like in a month. He made 20K. He told me this. He didn't tell me this to like, oh, I'm gonna sell you some training on how to do this. He was just like, in terms of real estate, there's just an expectation to make big returns on certain projects. Well, the businesses that I run, it's like a grind. You'll come in, you hopefully get a good spike, but then the rest of it really is residual, which is something that most businesses and jobs don't afford. So I wanted to kind of go over this real quick and get to the mindset of why people do this and break it. Okay? So someone coming to you asking about your personal income, it's like, dude, it's not none of your business. Same thing should be when they ask you about your business income. You should be like, I don't know what you're capable of doing. I have no clue. I have no clue. So I'm just gonna say your bounds, your upper limits are what is contained in our income disclosure. So if you come here, this is our income disclosure. I mean, this is something you gotta have for FTC purposes. LawrenceTan.net income EM. Okay, EM. Okay, all one word, no spaces. So what I wanted to touch on was, the way income is set up. When someone asks you how much you making, well, you're like, I don't know, because most of it's residual. The things I did this week could be paying me for 6 years. I have no clue. I mean, the difference between a business income and say a job. When someone asks you in your job, if they were, I don't know, a douche enough to ask you, right? I mean, hopefully you're good friends, but if someone just come up to me and say, how much you make as an engineer, I was like, dude, that's none of your business. But if they were to ask you, it's always per year. No one goes and says, you know what, I make 6,000 a month, or I make 3,000 every 2 weeks. No one does that. Maybe to your spouse, but it's always per year, right? But in our biz, everyone wants to know, what are you making per month? Why is that? Right? Because their mindset is that business is not going to be there in a year. And that's sad, right? Let's do your homework. Let's understand businesses and jobs are totally different things, right? So when you come into the job, let's say you're making like 6K a month, you never really say that. You're saying 6 times 10 is 60 plus 12 is 72,000. So you're looking at 72K per year. That's kind of what you're looking at. But you don't really tell them per month. And per month, most people are like, well, how much do you make? So I don't know what you're going to make. I have no clue what you're going to make, right? Because your earning potential is really governed by what the compensation plan is structured for. So I wanted to touch on this, but before I touch on this, I wanted to have a discussion with my dad. So he came back from China today, actually Monday, no, Tuesday. He came back Tuesday. First time I saw him was today, which is Friday, a couple days. And, a lot has happened since he's been gone, right? He's been gone for so long. And I told him, I was like, Dad, do you know how long I've been doing internet marketing? He's like, yeah, probably about a little over 2 years. Like, yeah, it's been over 2 years. Do you know how much I make? And he's like, 2,000 a month. It wasn't like a year. It was, per month, right? I was like, okay, per month. It's like, Dad, do you know I made over 30K in a week? He's like, congrats, son. I love that. I love that. But the first thing he said was, that's great, but you need to write it out. Now, why is that? See, my dad does real estate. So my dad does real estate. And so when I told you he flipped the house for 20K in a month, he's not extrapolating his business by saying it's 12 times 20. He's not telling people, hey, you know what? I make $240,000. Because no, real estate agents, they make it in chunks, right? And that's how they make their business. So over a year's span of work, they look back and they go, okay, I had 10, 50 good chunks. This is how much I made over the year. And if you were to go, take an average of the month, I'll probably make 10 grand, 20 grand, right? That's kind of how they do it. But you won't see a real estate agent go, I make 20 grand a month on one sale. They won't go, do you know I just made 20 grand in a 24-hour period? No, that's not the process. Let's break that. We are not the same. This is not the same type of mentality, right? And so my dad had it right. He's like, just because I make 20K on this one job doesn't mean I'll make 20K in my next job, right? That being the case, don't extrapolate your month into a year because you don't know what's going to happen in the future. And I go, yeah, you're totally right. Just like a job, right? Just because you make $72,000 in a year doesn't mean you're going to collect all 72. What if you get laid off, right? It happens all the time. You tell your friends, hey, celebrate. I just made my first job. I make $72K a year. You get laid off in six months. Did you really collect $72,000? No, you didn't. You didn't, okay? So don't fall into that trap. So I'm not saying there's a set rule of what you need to look at per month, per year, but we can digest months. So your job, really, you don't live off of your total per year. You live on a weekly basis. And this is why businesses pay on a weekly, bi-weekly, because they want to get you, charged up just like a job, right? Okay, so coming back to this, my dad's like, okay, so don't worry about that. Let's see what happens in 6 months. Then we can have a better understanding, okay? So I'm looking at this income disclosure that was released. So 1%, right? Is it less than? It's greater than. Less than. Sorry. I'm sick. That's my excuse. And this is why my hair's crazy. I didn't go to work today, picked up my kids, and my wife's like, do you know you left the house with your hair like that? I'm like, I slept like forever. Like for me, right? So less than 1% of the people coming in are making less than $30,000. Right? Less than. Which means there's actually a small subset of people, a 1%er, who's making $30,000 a month. Now, I want you to understand that $30,000 a month, Empower hasn't even been in business for more than 2 weeks, right? So you don't really know what the top end is. Who knows what the top end is, right? So really, so this is a better way to look at it. There's only about 1% who are doing about $30,000 a month. But some people don't think like that, which is fine. So what you go is, if you were to do an annualized extrapolation of what they're making, all right, of what they're making, they should be making $1.3 million. 1.3 mil. And so I'm looking at this. Let me look at my numbers real quick. Yeah, so less than 1% of the people, so 1% or less than 1%, is going to be making 1.3 if we were to extrapolate in the future on an annualized amount. Do you know I made $30,000 in a week? I've made more than $40,000 in 2 weeks, okay? So people are like, oh, you're slowing down. I'm like, dude, do you know how much residual I'm pocketing now? It's ridiculous, right? So I'm looking at this, and I'm like, how is that even possible? That's where the breakdown of my job, my mind, is basically blocking this success. Because no one who makes, $72,000, even $150,000, even $200K, is thinking they're going to make up $1.3 million in a part-time internet marketing business. who thinks about that, right? Remember, so FTC likes to say, don't make claims on what you do because it's not typical. It's not typical, so don't lure people in by saying how much you make. I understand this. I fall victim to this because I want to show people it's real, and that's my mistake. That's my mistake. But now we have an income disclosure for Empower Network. This is why I want to show people you need to work with me and what I can do for you with my bonuses. I'm going to supercharge you. So FTC goes, well, show people an income disclosure. It's a breakdown of what people are making. And so the number one excuse I get over the years about making 1.3 million or whatever you make, 30,000 a month, because I'm actually haven't hit my first month yet. I'm expecting maybe 50 to 70, around that range, okay? My mind is still not comprehending this, you know? So I don't even know what's going to happen. But number one thing is, they say, that's not average. I love this. This makes me laugh because you know why? Who wants to be average? You know what I mean? I mean, who wants to be average? I mean, I graduated from UT with the BSME, and we had, I believe, I'm going to take a guess, less than half the people who came in as a freshman no longer became a mechanical engineer. There is a weed out process. They don't just give out diplomas at UT at Austin, right? University of Texas does not just say, pay me your money, here's a degree. They will weed you out. They want to make sure, do you really want this degree? Because you got to earn it, right? They're not expecting people at UT to change the world because you're average. No. Those who go through UT, in my opinion, BS people, bachelors of science, you're taught to not be average. They teach you theory to take it to the next level because you're not supposed to be average. So when your mindset goes, that's not average, I can't do it, because you know what? If you think you can't, you won't. You know what I'm saying? If you think you can't, you won't, and then someone goes, I'm just going to stick with my 72K. By all means, do that. But I want to show you how someone who made $30,000 in a week did it part-time on vacation, and half of it came from Facebook. Oh, free Facebook marketing. What? So go over to lawrencetam.net/incomeem. This is just, I'm just being real. I'm under the weather, and I wanted to show people the mindset change of a job, thinking of a monthly rate that it can, I'm going to quit my job today because I made 30K. No, I'm not quitting my job. Get out of here. 30K is just one stream of income, but it's a new stream of income. I'm a guy who wants to make sure it is dead certain it is keep coming on. Now, nothing is dead certain, so why would you quit income streams that are working for you? Hence, a job. Many of you coming in will be part-time. Why would I want you to leave a job that has benefits, that has the ability for you to have a marketing budget, to quit that because you just had a good week? Don't do that, right? And so this is why I don't quit, right? Because I want to become a teacher. But why would I do that when I can do it part-time and then shift career paths as being a teacher? So go ahead and go to lawrencetam.net/incomeem. It kind of dives into the income disclosure brackets. And I've been told a couple times I am the number one money earner inside of Empower Network, and it has been like a dream ride. I have no clue what's going on. I don't expect to stay there because there are some monster marketers coming on, and there's just so much money out there. Because when you get paid 100% return of your own efforts, you'll make 30K way faster than if you were getting paid 10% of your efforts, right? So I'm gonna just go to sleep. I'm gonna compress this. I really hope you enjoyed the type of mindset this kind of comes in. Don't be the guy who's stuck in a job type mindset. Businesses are run totally differently. But let's see you on the other side. I hope to see you at events. I hope to see you on my team. Talk to you later. Lawrence Tam. Bye.